Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, special coverage of the $300,000 guaranteed all-stakes pick 4 at beautiful Keeneland on Saturday. Races 7 through 10. Approximate post time for the first leg. The Grade 3 Ben Ali Stakes is at 4:24 Eastern. All of the stakes videos saved for that turf sprint are up on video.drf.com. The Ben Ali is an intriguing race because Conquest Enforcer will run in this race instead of the Maker's 46 mile. He's one of your favorites. Are you using him?
Defensively. I'm concerned about how far he wants to go. If I don't think he can see out a mile, how's he going to see out a mile and eighth? I say that. If the pace is a little bit different, though, I wonder. You watch his turf races. He's got big speed and he flattens out a little bit late. Maybe it's the distance, or maybe it's just the way the turf races are run when everyone starts running faster at the end. On dirt, everyone is going to just slow down. If he can get out there, I know you've got Birdsong in here, but if he can work out a decent enough trip and they're not going too fast, maybe he's interesting. Again, I'm going to use him as a backup.
Let's take a look at your Ticketmaker ticket with the first leg, the Ben Ali. You're going to go 2 deep as your A's. The 4 Scuba, the 8 Frumento. Scuba was on quite a roll last year. Was it because he stretched all the way out in distance, or did Brendan Walsh just finally figure him out?
Probably a combination of the both, and that concerns me a little bit with the distance, because I think he probably does best going a little bit farther, but I think he could work out a good trip in behind Birdsong, in behind Conquest Enforcer, get first run on the closers. Frumento, I understand he doesn't like to win races very often. His most recent start when he ran into Birdsong, much, much better than it looks on paper because he was against the grain. He was the only one that made up any ground going a one-turn mile. This is what he wants. I think Zito's gotten him good. He's going to be a giant number.
Tell us about one of your Bs, the number 3, Watershed.
Watershed is a horse that, look, I feel like Watershed and Marking, for me, I just complete swing and a miss. I thought they were both going to be stars, and neither one of them have really turned into that. But this horse, I've always thought he's really more of a dirt router, and he's always been sprinted, and then most recently they tried him 1.5 miles on turf. That didn't work out. He has races on his page that are good enough to win in here. And this race, let's be honest, it's not a superstar-laden race.
Here's my Ticketmaker play for the Ben Ali, the first leg of this $300,000 guarantee all-stakes pick 4 at Keeneland. I agree with you on Scuba. He is going to have to deal with the layoff, but I was really impressed with the things he did towards the end of last year, and I think he can work out a good stalking trip if the 6 and the 7 hook up in the early portion of this race. Conquest Enforcer, like you, I will use defensively. Birdsong, I have a lot of concerns about his ability to see out the distance, but if Conquest Enforcer A doesn't handle dirt or doesn't want to go, Birdsong might be in command of this thing, turning into the stretch. I will also use him as an A. This is a preliminary Ticketmaker play. I really do prefer Scuba in this race. Maybe I move Birdsong down to a B. Second leg of the all-stakes pick 4, race number 8, 5.5 furlongs, the $150,000 Giants Causeway Stakes for fillies and mares. There is a big name in this race. Let's talk about Lady Aurelia.
She's going to be a very, very heavy favorite. And initially, I thought going into this, hey, you know what? Maybe try to beat her, because if you beat her, you're going to blow the entire sequence up. Then you go through and really dissect all these other fillies, the sprinters. I don't think there's a ton of quality in here, and I'm not saying that to be
rude,
but I don't think you have any real superstars. And Lady Aurelia, what she did last year, I mean, she looks like she could be anything. I won't be surprised if she puts on a show and just goes right to the top, and it sounds like our workout guys down in Lexington love everything she's been doing. She's the only A for me.
She's way the horse to beat. There's no doubt about that. She's probably the best horse in the race. Let's throw up Matt's Ticketmaker pick 4 with the Giants Causeway. Your only A is Lady Aurelia, but you will have some backups. You and I have always been fans of the number 4, Exaggerated, a horse coming off a fairly long layoff.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a concern, but I have faith in the connections, and I also wonder, you look, she had a couple of 90-plus buyers early on last year. I wonder if you get her back. Lady Aurelia, keep in mind, she's prepping for Royal Ascot. It's not as though this is the end-all, be-all for her. Maybe if she's a little bit short and Exaggerated and is ready to go, she could be interesting. But Latico, I think, is sneaky.
I like your angles with Latico, and I think it all has to do with distance.
Yes,
she was going down the hill at 6.5. She ran okay in some of those races, but it's a little bit far. 5.5 should hit her right between the eyes, and you know she's going to be a square price.
And also, in this scenario, the way that I drew it up, and I believe the Timeform Pace Projector is on point with it as well. If Lady Aurelia goes, I think Latico sits just off. If Lady Aurelia is a little bit short for some reason, Latico could take this thing over.
Here are my concerns with Lady Aurelia as we put my ticket up. I obviously have to use her. I can't let her knock me out, but we haven't seen her since September. As you said, she's prepping for Royal Ascot. They're taking the blinkers off. Is that going to adversely affect her in some way? And she's a 3-year-old taking on older horses. And it's early in the year for 3-year-olds to be taking on elders. Lady Aurelia, the horse to beat, but I also have to have others. Triple Chelsea is a beacon of consistency for this barn. She's won 5 of 10 starts. I thought, all things considering, she got a nice trip and setup last time out, but she was running at the end of that ladies' turf sprint. And I do like the fact that she was freshened up after that race. Hopefully she gets a little bit of pace. And the horse that beat her, Pretty Perfection, the number 10, has just been on quite a roll at Gulfstream Park. She's won her last 3 races with decent enough figures for a red-hot trainer in Kelly Breen.
I also think your backup is a little sneaky, Ruby Notion. That's the other Wesley Ward in this spot, and we always talk about it. You got the other Baffert, the other Pletcher. What about the other Ward?
They're teaching this horse how to rate. She was a big speedball early in her career when she went on her European excursion as a 2-year-old. Recently, they've taught her to rate. Last time out, she was in some little bit of traffic turning into the stretch. She's interesting for Joel Rosario as a backup, 10-1 on the line. Race number 9, the third leg of the pick 4, the Grade 3 Lexington Stakes for 3-year-olds. Again, that video up on video.drf.com. Let's throw up Matt's ticket for the Lexington. 5:10. It's like Woolworths. That's a real dated reference.
Yeah, I have no idea what that even means.
Look it up.
I have to be honest. In this race, I wish I could have liked some other horses in here. For me, it just kind of feels like I think the most talented horse is Time to Travel. I don't love that this is such a quick turnaround, and we're going to try 2 turns for the first time. And West Coast, he's very uninteresting. I hate to say that because I think there's something here, but he is the most uninteresting horse in the race. He's going to take money. He's Baffert from the West Coast. He might win, but he's going to be a vast underlay, isn't he?
But I understand exactly the angle you're taking here. You want the horses that are virtually unexposed.
Yes.
Both horses that are stepping up off maiden wins. We have no idea how good they can be. Well, I think the rest of these horses have sort of set a level for themselves and aren't going to get much better. As we take a look at my ticket, with the third leg, the Lexington in there, Time to Travel's a little bit of a backup for me. He's going to stretch out around 2 turns for the first time. Of the 2 new faces, so to speak, I will use the 10 West Coast. I won't let Baffert beat me. I think No Dozing deserves one more chance simply because he's getting some class relief after facing the likes of McCracken and Taprit and Classic Empire. If he runs his Remsen, and I know that the Remsen has not come back as a strong race, but I think if he runs that race, he's a solid fit in the Lexington for a barn that knows how to win this race.
Well, and even, I mean, if we're being honest, the Tampa Bay Derby wasn't nearly as bad as the Sam F. Davis. The Sam F. Davis was a disaster. I don't know what happened there, but his Tampa Bay Derby wasn't bad. If he can run that race back, that certainly makes him a contender.
The Jenny Wiley is race number 10, a Grade 1 stakes race, and it is a beauty at Keeneland. It's the anchor leg of this $300,000 guaranteed all stakes pick 4. Matt, let's throw up your ticket. I'm interested to see. Lady Eli is 1. You're not singling. You're also going with Illuminant, one of my faves as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Eli, we've talked about it. She's way the horse to beat. I'm not going to fault anyone that just says Stone Cold single and move on. I believe in Illuminant. I think she has every right to win on a stage like this. She's a Grade 1 winner already, albeit a weak gamely last year. I thought the downhill race, the Wishing Well, was the perfect prep for a race like this. And from a pace standpoint, you have Catch a Glimpse in here. I think she goes, and I think Flavian Pratt sticks this filly right off of her rear end and takes this thing over, turn it for home, and at that point, I'll take my chances. I'll gamble. If Lady Eli comes and runs me down, so be it.
That would be a great trip to be sure. Lady Eli, remember, is making her first start off the layoff, and I'm sure Chad is using this, he'd love to win it, as a building block for big races in the fall. Of course, the main goal is the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. That being said, as we throw out my ticket, Lady Eli is my only A. I think she's the best horse in the race. She is going to have to deal with the layoff, which is why I'm going to use a couple of backups, Illuminant, one of them. I think she's going to get that great trip that you put out there, and also the number 4 Dickinson, who from a quality standpoint might be a notch below the Lady Eli's of the world, but boy, you can't knock what Kieran's done with her.
I really like her. I think she's a tremendous talent. If I were going to go with any more backups and possibly as C's, Dickinson would certainly be there. The sneaky one that just continues to pop into my head, she is completely unexposed, I think, as far as class is concerned. Kidura on the far outside, we don't know what she's raced 4 times. She's run tremendous in both of her starts here in North America. She's coming off of a long layoff, but this is an ambitious spot. Graham Motion knew who was going to run in this race, still said this is where we're going to go with her. Not suggesting that she is a likely upset candidate, but if I were going any deeper, Kadura is sneaky.
She's the upside horse in this race, and she's going to be a very playable price, with Lady Eli attracting most of the attention. It is a really fun sequence at Keeneland on Saturday with some great stakes races. Races 7 through 10, 50-cent minimum play, $300,000 guarantee, all stakes pick 4. It begins with the Ben Ali, race number 7, with an approximate post of 4:24 Eastern. Best of luck.